It was his own room, there was no doubt about that. Heaped up on the floor to form a kind of throne were turkeys, geese, game, poultry, brawn, great joints of meat, sucking pigs, barrels of oysters, red-hot chestnuts, cherry-cheeked apples, juicy oranges, luscious pears, immense 12th cakes, and seething bowls of punch that made the chamber dim with their delicious steam. In easy state upon this couch there sat a jolly giant, clothed in one simple deep green robe or mantle. Its feet, observable beneath the ample folds of the garment, were also bare. Its dark brown curls were long and free as its genial face, its sparkling eye, its open hand, its uncontained demeanour.
I am the ghost of Christmas present. Look upon me.
Spirit, conduct me where you will. Tonight, if you have aught to teach me, let me profit by it.
Touch my robe.
Scrooge did as he was told, and held it fast. Holly, mistletoe, berries, ivy, turkeys, geese, game, sucking pigs, all vanished instantly. So did the room, the fire, the hour of night. They stood in the city streets on Christmas morning. The house fronts looked black enough, and the windows blacker, contrasting with the smooth white sheet of snow upon the roofs. The sky was gloomy, and the shortest streets were choked up with a dingy mist, half thawed, half frozen, whose heavier particles descended in a shower of sooty atoms, as if all the chimneys in Great Britain had, by one consent, caught fire, and were blazing away to their dear hearts' content. Holding the spirit's robe, on the threshold of a door, the dwellings of Scrooge's clerk, Bob Cratchit. Bob had but 15 bob a week himself. He pocketed on Saturdays but 15 copies of his Christian name, and yet the ghost of Christmas present blessed his four-roomed house. Cratchit's wife laid the cloth, assisted by Belinda Cratchit, second of her daughters, while Master Peter Cratchit plunged a fork into the saucepan of potatoes. Two smaller Cratchits, boy and girl, came tearing in, screaming that outside the baker's they had smelt the goose and known it for their own, and basking in luxurious thoughts of sage and onion, these young Cratchits danced about the table.
What has ever got your precious father then? And your brother, Tiny Tim, and Martha? Weren't as late last Christmas Day by half an hour.
Martha arrived.
Why? Bless my heart alive. My dear, how late you are.
We had a deal of work to finish up last night and had to clear away this morning, Mother.
So long as you are come. Sit ye down before the fire, my dear, and have a warm.
Martha ran into Bob's arms, while the two young Cratchits hustled Tiny Tim and bore him off into the wash-house, that he might hear the pudding singing in the copper.
And how did little Tim behave?
As good as gold, and better.
Bob's voice was tremulous when he told them this, and trembled more when he said that Tiny Tim was growing strong and hearty.
A Merry Christmas to us all, my dears. God bless us.
Which all the family re-echoed.
God blesses everyone.
Tiny Tim sat very close to his father's side, upon his little stool. Bob held his withered little hand in his, as if he loved the child, and wished to keep him by his side, and dreaded that he might be taken from him. Spirit, tell me if Tiny Tim will live.
I see a vacant seat in the poor chimney corner, and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
Kind spirit, say he will be spared.
If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, if he be like to die, he had better do it, and decrease the surplus population.
Scrooge hung his head to hear his own words quoted against him, and was overcome with penitence and grief, and trembling, cast his eyes upon the ground. But he raised them speedily on hearing his own name.
Mr. Scrooge! I'll give you Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast.
I wish I had him here. I'll give him a piece of my mind to feast upon. It should be Christmas Day, I am sure, On which one drinks the ale for such an odious, stingy, hard, unfeeling man as Mr. Scrooge?
My dear, the children, Christmas Day.
I'll drink his ale for your sake, not for his. A Merry Christmas and an Happy New Year.
The children drank the toast after her. It was the first of their proceedings which had no heartiness in it at all. Tiny Tim drank it last of all, but he didn't care twopence for it. Scrooge was the ogre of the family. The mention of his name cast a dark shadow on the party, which was not dispelled for full 5 minutes. They were not a handsome family. They were not well dressed, their shoes were far from waterproof, their clothes were scanty. But they were happy, grateful, pleased with one another, and contented with the time. And when they faded and looked happier yet in the bright sprinklings of the spirit's torch at parting, Scrooge had his eye upon them, and especially on Tiny Tim, until the last. Again the ghost sped on. It was a great surprise to Scrooge, while thus engaged, to hear a hearty laugh. It was a much greater surprise to Scrooge to recognise it as his own nephew's. If you should happen, by any unlikely chance, to know a man more blessed in a laugh than Scrooge's nephew, all I can say is, I should like to know him too. Introduce him to me, and I'll cultivate his acquaintance.
He said that Christmas was a humbug. Oh, as I live. He believed it too.
More shame for him, Fred.
He's a comical old fellow, that's the truth. Not so pleasant as he might be. However, his offences carry their own punishment, and I have nothing to say against him.
I'm sure he is very rich, Fred. At least you always tell me so.
I am sorry for him. I couldn't be angry with him if I tried. Who suffers by his ill whims? Himself, always. Here, he takes it into his head to dislike us, and he won't come and dine with us. What's the consequence? He don't lose much of a dinner.
After tea they had some music. Scrooge's niece played well upon the harp. When this strain of music sounded, all the things that ghost had shown him came upon his mind. He softened more and more, and thought that if he could have listened to it often, years ago, he might have cultivated the kindness of life for his own happiness with his own hands. Here is a new game! 1/2 hour spirit, only one! It was a game called Yes and No, where Scrooge's nephew had to think of something, and the rest must find out what, he only answering to their questions yes or no, as the case was. A live animal, a savage animal, an animal that growled and grunted sometimes, lived in London, was never killed in a market, not a horse or an ass, or a cow, or a bull, or a tiger, or a dog, or a pig, or a cat, or a bear.
It's your Uncle Scrooge!
Yes!
It was a long night. If it were only a night. But Scrooge had his doubts of this, because the Christmas holidays appeared to be condensed into the space of time they passed together. It was strange, too, that while Scrooge remained unaltered in his outward form, the ghost grew older, clearly older. Are spirits' lives so short?
My life upon this globe is very brief. It ends tonight at midnight. The time is drawing near.
Forgive me if I am not justified in what I ask, said Scrooge, staring intently at the spirit's robes. But I see something strange, not belonging to yourself, protruding from your skirts. Is it a foot or a claw?
It might be a claw, for the flesh there is upon it. Look here.
From the foldings of its robe it brought 2 children, wretched, abject, frightful, hideous, miserable. They knelt down at its feet and clung upon the outside of its garment. They were a boy and girl, ragged, scowling, wolfish. Spirit, are they yours?
They are man's, and they cling to me, appealing from their fathers. This boy is ignorance, this girl is want. Beware them both, and all of their degree. But most of all, beware this boy, for on his brow I see that written which is doom.
Have they no refuge or recourse?
Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?
Scrooge looked about him for the ghost, and saw it not. As the last stroke ceased to vibrate, he remembered the prediction of old Jacob Marley, and, lifting up his eyes, beheld a solemn phantom, draped and hooded, coming like a mist along the ground towards him. It was shrouded in a deep black garment, which concealed its head, its face, its form, and left nothing of it visible, save one outstretched hand. I am in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come?
My life upon this globe is very brief.